Have you ever brushed off a small change in your body because you thought, I'm just getting older? Maybe you felt unusually tired after a short walk, noticed your balance isn't quite what it used to be, or found yourself waking up several times a night without thinking much of it. Most of us do exactly that. We tell ourselves it's simply part of aging. But here's something many people don't realize. Your body rarely stays silent without a reason. Long before a serious health problem appears, it often sends quiet signals, small changes that seem harmless on their own but can become much more important when they start adding up. The surprising part is that these warning signs are easy to miss because they don't usually arrive with severe pain or dramatic symptoms. They sneak into everyday life. You slow down a little. You skip an afternoon walk because you're more tired than usual. You forget where you left your reading glasses one extra time. You feel colder than everyone else in the room. None of these seem urgent until you look at the bigger picture. Many older adults only discover what those signals meant after an unexpected trip to the emergency room or a routine doctor's visit reveals something they never saw coming. And that's exactly why paying attention today can make such a difference tomorrow. This isn't about becoming afraid of every ache or every gray hair. Aging brings changes, and many of them are completely normal. The goal is knowing the difference between ordinary aging and the kinds of changes that deserve a closer look. That knowledge can help you have better conversations with your doctor, catch problems earlier, and continue enjoying the life you've worked so hard to build. Think about someone you know, a friend from church, a neighbor, or even a family member who seemed perfectly fine until one day they weren't. Often, when people look back, they remember little clues that suddenly made sense. The body had been speaking all along. It just wasn't speaking loudly. Today, we're going to shine a light on 7 silent warning signs that adults over 60 should never ignore. Some may surprise you because they don't seem connected to serious health issues at all. Yet recognizing them early could help protect your health, your independence, and your peace of mind. As you listen, you may recognize one or even several of these changes in yourself or someone you love. If you do, don't panic. Instead, think of them as gentle reminders that your body deserves attention, not because something is definitely wrong, but because it's always better to ask questions early than to wish you had later. One of the biggest myths about getting older is that every new symptom is simply old age. While it's true that our bodies change over time, healthy aging doesn't mean accepting every ache, every dizzy spell, or every unexplained change as normal. In fact, many serious health conditions begin with symptoms so subtle that they're often mistaken for nothing more than a busy week, poor sleep, or getting a little older. Imagine this. You wake up on a Tuesday morning, pour yourself a cup of coffee, and notice climbing the stairs feels a little harder than it did a month ago. You shrug it off. Later, you skip your afternoon walk because you're unusually tired. A few days later, you're feeling better again, so you forget all about it. Sound familiar? That's exactly how many silent health problems begin, not with a dramatic event, but with small changes that quietly become your new normal. The first warning sign is unusual or persistent fatigue. This isn't the kind of tiredness you feel after mowing the lawn, playing with your grandchildren, or spending a long day traveling. It's a deeper kind of exhaustion that doesn't seem to have a clear explanation. You sleep through the night, yet you wake up feeling like you never truly rested. Everyday tasks that used to be easy, carrying groceries, walking around the neighborhood, even making breakfast, suddenly seem to require much more effort. Many people assume this is just part of getting older, but persistent fatigue can sometimes be your body's way of saying something isn't working as efficiently as it should. It could be related to poor sleep, medication side effects, dehydration, anemia, thyroid problems, heart disease, uncontrolled diabetes, or other medical conditions that deserve attention. The important thing is not to jump to conclusions, but also not to ignore it. Here's where many people make a mistake. They gradually adjust their lifestyle around the fatigue instead of asking why it's happening. They stop taking walks. They avoid social gatherings because they don't have the energy. They spend more time sitting in their favorite chair watching television. Because these changes happen little by little, they barely notice how much their world has shrunk. Staying active is one of the best ways to maintain strength and independence as you age. When unexplained fatigue causes you to move less, your muscles naturally become weaker. Weaker muscles make everyday activities feel harder, leading you to become even less active. Before long, a cycle has formed that's difficult to break. If you've noticed that your energy level has changed significantly over the past few weeks or months without an obvious reason, it's worth paying attention. Keep a simple journal for a few days. Write down when you feel most tired, what you were doing beforehand, how well you slept, what medications you took, and whether eating or drinking makes any difference. These details can be incredibly helpful during a doctor's appointment because patterns often reveal clues that a single symptom cannot. The second silent warning sign is unexpected changes in balance or frequent dizziness. Almost everyone feels lightheaded once in a while, especially if they stand up too quickly after sitting for a long time. But if you frequently feel unsteady while walking, need to grab furniture for support, or notice that you're becoming less confident on stairs or uneven sidewalks, don't dismiss it as clumsiness. Falls are one of the leading reasons older adults end up in emergency rooms across the United States. What's surprising is that many falls are preceded by weeks or even months of subtle balance changes that people simply learn to live with. They start avoiding certain activities without realizing why. Maybe they stop walking the dog around the block because they don't feel as steady. Maybe they avoid carrying laundry downstairs unless someone else is home. Balance depends on several body systems working together. Your inner ear helps you stay upright. Your eyes tell your brain where you are in space. Your muscles and joints provide strength and stability. Your brain coordinates everything in real time. If even one of these systems isn't functioning well because of medication side effects, dehydration, poor circulation, low blood pressure, vision changes, nerve problems, or another medical issue, you may begin feeling off balance. One overlooked cause is dehydration. As we age, our sense of thirst often becomes weaker. Many older adults simply don't feel thirsty even when their bodies need more fluids. A little dehydration can contribute to dizziness, fatigue, headaches, and confusion, especially during warm weather or after spending time outdoors. Another factor is medication. Many common prescriptions, including medicines for blood pressure, sleep, anxiety, allergies, or pain, can affect balance or make you feel lightheaded. Never stop taking medication on your own, but if you've noticed new dizziness after starting or changing a prescription, bring it up with your healthcare provider or pharmacist. Sometimes a simple adjustment can make a meaningful difference. There's also an emotional side to balance problems that often goes unnoticed. After one close call or minor fall, many people become afraid of falling again. That fear leads them to move less, and less movement gradually weakens the muscles that help prevent falls in the first place. Confidence fades, independence becomes harder to maintain, and everyday activities start feeling like risks instead of routines. The encouraging news is that many causes of fatigue and balance problems can be evaluated and, in many cases, improved once they're identified. The key is recognizing these quiet signals before they become louder ones. Your body isn't trying to alarm you, it may simply be asking you to pay closer attention. The third silent warning sign is one that many people laugh off or blame on a busy day, but it deserves more attention than it usually gets. It's subtle changes in memory, thinking, or concentration. Everyone forgets things from time to time. You walk into the kitchen and can't remember why. You misplace your car keys. You forget someone's name for a moment and then remember it later. Those occasional lapses happen to people of all ages. What deserves a closer look is when those moments become more frequent or begin interfering with daily life. Maybe you're forgetting to take medications that you've managed for years. You find yourself paying the same bill twice or missing important appointments. A familiar recipe suddenly feels confusing, or you lose track of conversations more often than you used to. Many people immediately fear the worst and assume these changes must mean dementia. The good news is that's not always the case. Memory changes can have many possible causes, and some of them are surprisingly treatable. Poor sleep is one example. If you're waking up several times a night because of pain, frequent trips to the bathroom, or sleep apnea, your brain may never get the deep rest it needs to function at its best. You might spend the entire day feeling mentally foggy without realizing the real problem began while you were asleep. Low levels of certain vitamins, thyroid problems, dehydration, medication side effects, depression, anxiety, and uncontrolled blood sugar can also affect memory and concentration. That's why it's so important not to diagnose yourself. Instead, notice patterns and bring them to your healthcare provider's attention. Here's something many people don't realize. Your brain depends on healthy blood flow just as much as your heart does. When circulation isn't ideal, your brain may receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients than it needs. Sometimes, small changes in thinking can be one of the earliest clues that your overall health deserves a closer look. One simple habit that can support brain health is staying mentally engaged. Reading a book, working on a crossword puzzle, learning a new hobby, playing cards with friends, or even having regular conversations can help keep your mind active. Physical activity also plays a role because movement supports healthy circulation throughout the body, including the brain. The fourth warning sign often appears so gradually that people don't notice it until someone else points it out. It's unexpected weight loss or a noticeable loss of appetite. Imagine your favorite Sunday family dinner. The meal you've always enjoyed is on the table, but you realize you're pushing food around your plate instead of eating it. At first, you assume you're just not that hungry today. Then a few weeks go by, and your clothes begin fitting a little looser. Friends mention that your face looks thinner. Many older adults don't weigh themselves regularly, so these changes can sneak up quietly. Losing a few pounds without trying may not sound alarming, but when weight loss happens without changes in diet or exercise, it's worth discussing with a healthcare professional. There are many possible reasons. Dental problems can make chewing uncomfortable. Certain medications may reduce appetite or change how food tastes. Digestive issues, depression, thyroid conditions, infections, and other illnesses can also affect eating habits. Sometimes, people living alone simply lose interest in preparing balanced meals for themselves. Nutrition becomes even more important as we age. Your muscles need protein to stay strong. Your bones need nutrients to remain healthy. Your immune system depends on vitamins and minerals to help fight illness. When your body isn't getting enough fuel, it may become harder to recover from even minor health problems. Here's where many families miss an important clue. They may notice an older loved one eating less, but assume it's a normal part of aging. While appetite can change over time, a significant or ongoing decrease shouldn't automatically be accepted as normal. A practical step is to pay attention to small trends instead of waiting for dramatic changes. If you notice your appetite has been poor for several weeks, your clothes are fitting differently, or you've unintentionally lost weight, make a note of it. Even keeping track of your weight once a month can help you spot changes early. It's also helpful to think beyond the scale. Ask yourself a few simple questions. Am I eating because I'm hungry, or because it's simply time for a meal? Have I stopped enjoying foods I once loved? Am I skipping meals because cooking feels like too much work? Have swallowing or chewing become more difficult? Sometimes the answers reveal a problem that's easier to solve than you expected. One encouraging truth about healthy aging is that small changes often lead to meaningful improvements. Drinking enough water, eating regular balanced meals with plenty of protein, staying physically active, and speaking up when something doesn't feel right can all make a real difference. The challenge is recognizing the quiet signals before they grow into larger problems. Your body has an amazing ability to communicate. It may not always use loud alarms, but it often whispers long before it shouts. The more familiar you become with your own normal routines, the easier it becomes to notice when something important has changed. The fifth silent warning sign is one that often begins in the feet, but can eventually affect almost every part of your daily life. It's changes in your feet, legs, or circulation. Think about how much you ask your legs to do every single day. They carry you through the grocery store, help you climb stairs, keep you steady while gardening, and allow you to enjoy walks with friends or family. Yet many people rarely look closely at their feet unless something hurts. That's a mistake, especially after age 60. Have you noticed that your feet feel colder than they used to? Do your shoes suddenly feel tighter because your ankles are swelling by the end of the day? Maybe you experience numbness, tingling, or burning sensations that come and go. Some people describe it as feeling like they're wearing invisible socks or walking on small pebbles, even when the floor is perfectly smooth. These symptoms are easy to dismiss, but they can sometimes point to problems with circulation, nerve health, diabetes, medication side effects, or other conditions that deserve attention. If you have diabetes, paying attention to your feet becomes even more important. High blood sugar over time can damage the tiny nerves in your feet, making it harder to notice cuts, blisters, or injuries. At the same time, poor circulation can slow healing. A small blister from a new pair of shoes that would normally heal in a few days may become a much bigger problem if it goes unnoticed. That's why many healthcare providers encourage older adults, especially those with diabetes, to make a quick foot check part of their daily routine. It only takes a minute. Look for redness, swelling, cuts, blisters, changes in skin color, or sores that aren't healing. If it's difficult to see the bottom of your feet, using a hand mirror or asking a trusted family member for help can make the task much easier. Another overlooked clue is swelling in the lower legs or ankles. Now, swelling doesn't always mean something serious. Sitting on a long flight, standing for hours, or spending a hot summer day outside can all cause temporary swelling. But if swelling becomes frequent, affects only one leg, appears suddenly, or is accompanied by pain, shortness of breath, or redness, it shouldn't be ignored. Those situations deserve prompt medical attention. Many older adults also notice leg pain when walking that improves after resting. They may assume they're simply out of shape or getting older. In some cases, however, this pattern can be related to reduced blood flow to the muscles. Recognizing that pattern early gives you an opportunity to discuss it with your healthcare provider before it interferes even more with your mobility. One of the simplest ways to support healthy circulation is regular movement. You don't need to train for a marathon. Even standing up every hour, taking a short walk around the house, stretching your calves, or enjoying a leisurely walk through the neighborhood can encourage blood flow. If you spend long periods watching television, reading, or using a computer, make it a habit to get up and move for a few minutes. Those small breaks add up over time. Staying hydrated, avoiding smoking, managing blood pressure, keeping blood sugar within the target range your healthcare provider recommends, and wearing properly fitting shoes are all everyday habits that help protect your circulation. The sixth warning sign is one that many people find embarrassing to talk about, even with their doctor. It's changes in bladder or bathroom habits. Perhaps you're getting up 3 or 4 times every night to use the bathroom. Maybe you suddenly feel a strong urge to urinate and barely make it in time, or you've noticed constipation becoming a regular problem when it never used to be. Because these topics feel personal, many people simply live with them in silence. But your bathroom habits can provide valuable clues about your overall health. Frequent nighttime urination, for example, can sometimes be related to drinking too many fluids before bed, but it may also be associated with diabetes, certain medications, bladder conditions, prostate problems in men, sleep disorders, or heart-related issues that cause fluid to shift while lying down. Constipation is another concern that's often underestimated. As we age, digestion naturally slows a bit, and medications, dehydration, and lower physical activity can make constipation more common. While occasional constipation is common, ongoing changes deserve attention, particularly if they're accompanied by pain, bleeding, or unexplained weight loss. The important message isn't to worry about every trip to the bathroom. It's to notice changes from your usual routine. One helpful habit is paying attention to patterns instead of isolated events. If something unusual lasts for several days or keeps returning over several weeks, write it down. Your healthcare provider may find that information far more useful than trying to remember details during an appointment months later. The seventh and final silent warning sign may be the easiest to overlook because it develops so slowly. It's a gradual loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed. At first glance, this might not seem like a health issue at all. Maybe you've stopped attending your weekly card game. You no longer feel like tending your garden. You turn down invitations from family because staying home feels easier. You used to enjoy morning walks, but now you find reasons not to go. Sometimes this happens because of hidden physical problems like chronic pain, poor hearing, vision changes, fatigue, or medication side effects. Other times, it may be connected to loneliness, depression, or emotional stress. Many people think depression always looks like overwhelming sadness. In older adults, it can be much quieter. It may show up as low energy, loss of motivation, changes in sleep, difficulty concentrating, or simply no longer finding joy in everyday life. The encouraging news is that these changes are not something you have to accept as an unavoidable part of aging. There are effective treatments and supportive resources available, but they often begin with one important step: talking about what you're experiencing. If you've noticed yourself pulling away from the people, hobbies, or routines that once brought you happiness, don't assume it's just getting older. Share those changes with someone you trust. It could be a family member, a close friend, a faith leader, or your healthcare provider. Sometimes one honest conversation is the first step toward feeling like yourself again. Healthy aging isn't about pretending nothing changes. It's about recognizing which changes are expected, which deserve attention, and which can often be improved with the right support. The sooner you listen to your body's quiet messages, the more opportunities you have to protect your health, maintain your independence, and continue enjoying the moments that matter most. If there's one message to take away from everything we've talked about today, it's this: your body is always communicating with you. The question isn't whether it's sending signals, it's whether those signals are being noticed. The 7 warning signs we've covered don't automatically mean something is seriously wrong. Feeling unusually tired doesn't always point to heart disease. A little forgetfulness doesn't automatically mean dementia. Swollen ankles don't always signal a major medical condition, and changes in appetite don't always indicate a hidden illness. But when these changes appear without a clear reason, become more frequent, or begin affecting your daily life, they deserve your attention rather than your assumptions. One of the greatest advantages you have is knowing your own body better than anyone else. You know what your normal energy feels like. You know how far you usually enjoy walking, how well you typically sleep, and what your daily routines look like. That's why even small changes matter. Your normal is the best reference point. A simple habit that many healthcare professionals recommend is keeping a personal health notebook. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. A small notebook on the kitchen counter or a note on your phone works just fine. Write down changes you notice, when they started, how often they happen, and anything that seems to make them better or worse. For example, if you've been feeling unusually tired, note what time of day it happens. If you're waking up multiple times at night, keep track of how often. If your feet are swelling, notice whether it's after standing, sitting, or throughout the entire day. These small observations can help your healthcare providers see patterns that might otherwise be missed. It's also helpful to prepare for your regular checkups instead of walking into the appointment and trying to remember everything on the spot. Bring a current list of your medications, including vitamins and supplements. Mention any new symptoms, even if they seem unrelated. Sometimes the smallest detail becomes the missing piece of a much larger puzzle. Another powerful step is staying consistent with preventive care. Routine blood pressure checks, recommended blood sugar testing, cholesterol screenings, vision exams, hearing evaluations, dental visits, and age-appropriate cancer screenings all play important roles in catching problems before they become emergencies. Preventive care may not seem exciting, but it's often one of the most effective ways to protect your health and maintain your independence. Don't underestimate the value of your daily habits either. A balanced diet filled with fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats gives your body the nutrients it needs to repair and protect itself. Drinking enough water helps support your kidneys, brain, circulation, and energy levels. Regular movement keeps muscles strong, improves balance, supports heart health, and even benefits memory and mood. Sleep deserves just as much attention. Many people proudly say they can get by on only 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But over time, poor sleep can affect concentration, blood pressure, blood sugar, immune function, and emotional well-being. If you're consistently sleeping poorly, don't simply accept it as part of aging. There may be an underlying cause that can be addressed. Staying socially connected is another form of medicine that often doesn't get enough attention. Whether it's meeting friends for coffee, attending church, volunteering at a community center, joining a walking group, calling your grandchildren, or simply chatting with a neighbor, meaningful connections support both emotional and physical health. Research has consistently shown that people who stay socially engaged often enjoy better overall well-being as they age. Perhaps one of the most important lessons is this: don't let embarrassment keep you silent. Many older adults hesitate to mention bladder changes, memory concerns, dizziness, or feelings of loneliness because they think those issues are simply part of getting older or they don't want to bother anyone. But your healthcare team has heard these concerns countless times before. Speaking up early often leads to better answers, more treatment options, and greater peace of mind. It's also worth remembering that your health doesn't just affect you. When you take care of yourself, you're also protecting the people who care about you. Your children, grandchildren, spouse, siblings, neighbors, and friends all benefit when you're healthy enough to continue sharing life's moments with them. Every walk you take, every healthy meal you choose, every doctor's appointment you keep, and every question you ask is an investment in the years ahead. Aging is not about becoming weaker every day. It's about adapting wisely, paying attention to what your body is telling you, and making choices that help you stay active, independent, and engaged with the people and activities you love. So the next time you notice a change that doesn't quite feel like your normal, don't dismiss it with the words, "I'm just getting older." Instead, pause for a moment. Listen to your body. Write it down if needed. And if the change continues or concerns you, have a conversation with your healthcare provider. That simple decision could make a meaningful difference in your health and your future. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope these 7 silent warning signs help you feel more confident, informed, and prepared to take charge of your health. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with a parent, a spouse, a sibling, or a friend over 60. Sometimes, the information we almost ignore becomes the information that helps someone seek care at just the right time. And if you'd like more practical, easy-to-understand health tips for healthy aging, be sure to subscribe and join us again. Until next time, take good care of yourself, and remember, the healthiest future often begins by paying attention to the smallest signals today.